I've got a confession to make that I was wrong, and I feel it necessary to clear the air because the truth is more important to me than being right. And in my search for truth, sometimes I make a mistake. I've done it in the past, and here I am again. And I feel it very necessary to lay it all out. Now, I'm not sure if this is something I have taught, but I have definitely thought it, and I want to make sure that people don't do the same. Because I used to think that Abraham lacked faith and did something wrong. And the wrong I thought he did was to listen to the voice of his wife, Sarai, and to take her handmaiden in order to fulfill the promise that Yah had given him. But it's not. And I want to vindicate him. So here we go. In Genesis 15, Yah tells Abram that he will give him a son from his own body. But he doesn't specify that it's a son from Sarai's body, as you can see here. I'm going to skip to the end of Genesis 16 to show you that Abram was 86 years old when this happened, or at least when Ishmael was born, specifically. Now let's go back to the top of Genesis 16, and keep in mind, Abram was about 86 years old at this point, maybe 85. But Sarai tells him to go into her handmaiden, and Abram heeded the voice of Sarai. And here in verse 3, Sarai gives her to him, to be his wife specifically. So at this point, according to the text, in English, Abram has 2 wives. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And remember that he was old at this point, and yet he still didn't have any kids. And Yah promised him a son. So this was a completely viable option. And remember, it didn't specify that it would be through Sarai. And here in verse 4, Sarai got jealous. And so she ends up sending her away. But the angel of Yah tells her to return. And Yah doubles down on his promise here. And never ever indicates that it was a bad thing that this happened. Skipping ahead to chapter 17, we see that Abraham had his name changed, and he was now 99 when he was circumcised, and his son Ishmael was now 13. But backing up into that same chapter, Yah tells them that he will bless Sarah, whose name is now changed from Sarai, and now lets them both know that the blessing is going to come through her. And it's not until this point that they find amusement in it, obviously recognizing how old they are, a little past the age of bearing children. But again, it's not necessarily a bad thing. And actually, it doesn't record that Sarah laughed until the very next chapter, right before the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. So there you have it. That's why I was wrong. Remember, Abraham believed, and Yah counted it as righteousness. Shalom.